Cool. Luke, Tough Love Cardiff. Tell us a little
Yep.
bit about it for our audience.
So, about me, Tough Love Cardiff personal training. Well, previous to this, I was in the music industry for 10 years, playing in a rock and roll band. And I drank a lot, I slept very little, I ate the worst kinds of food. I had a lot of fun. But, as time went on, I realized the damage I was kind of doing to myself like this, and, looked at everyone around me who was getting fat and looking older than their years and moving badly and had bad backs and everything at 25, and I didn't really want that anymore. What I'd always had was some level of fitness, and in amongst all the drinking, and that became a seed of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with my life. And after the music finished, I pretty much just came up with the idea I want to be a personal trainer, and I did it. And I started a company, Tough Love Cardiff Personal Training, where my goal is I take normal people. I don't train athletes, I don't train fitness models or anything like that. I take normal people and I make them stronger, and I make them move better, and I make them fitter and ultimately healthier. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't deal in trying to get people down to like 3% body fat so they can be on a magazine cover. I just take normal people and I fix them, so to speak, because humanity is kind of, in my opinion, pretty much broken right now. We're all like old cars that have been left in the garage without an oil change. We move badly. We don't really function properly. We're weak as kittens. Yeah, and so I just try and fix that. I try and be a mechanic of the body.
Sure. I can remember like last time that I saw you was really into your martial arts.
I was doing a lot of
Jiu-jitsu, was it?
Muay Thai, a little bit of
Muay Thai,
MMA,
yeah.
but mostly Muay Thai.
How do you think that, like, from the martial arts background that you're doing then, at that point, how do you think, like, that prepped you for the discipline? Like, obviously, for guys that are just getting into this, I'm sure a stumbling block that you come across a lot of the time is people starting it for maybe like a few weeks and then giving up and not having that self-discipline. And obviously, you've
Sure.
got that carved into you, so.
Sure thing. Well, yeah, totally. Having a background in martial arts, or to be honest, even any sport. Anyone who's kind of done anything and taken seriously, and it doesn't even have to be a sport. Anyone's had something in their life that they've wanted to work for and they've devoted themselves to has that discipline. When I did music, I was devoted to the music. I worked hard at that, and that was my goal, and everything I did was to further myself in that. Same when I did Muay Thai. Everything was about getting good at that and getting better at it and focusing on it, and that's where my discipline came from. So yeah, I there was already some in me when I started training.
Yeah, sure.
And but most people have that. They do have that. It's you don't have to have been through some super disciplined like martial art and lived in a Shaolin temple for 10 years to be able to stick to a plan. Do you know what I mean? When people are at work, they stick to the plan and they can do it.
Do you have any techniques for the guys that are struggling with that side of things, though? I mean, obviously, you're into clients that have been like that.
Yeah, well, to be honest, the most important thing for me, for me and for my clients, of sticking to the plan, sticking to the program, and being disciplined, and doing everything you're meant to, is finding out why you want to do it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
because if you go in the gym and you've got a rough idea of why you're there. You'd like to lift a bit of weight, maybe like to lose a little bit of belly fat, or you'd like to be a bit fitter. All of that means shit all unless you put a number on it and you make a specific goal out of it. So what I get people to do is I get them to write out 3 goals. I get them to write out basically 3 things they want to do. Yeah, 3 achievable things, and they have to have numbers on them. So if they want to lose weight, they have to lose a certain amount of specific weight by a specific date. Okay? Again, otherwise it's an abstract concept. If there's something they want to get strong at, then they have to lift a certain amount of weight in that lift by a specific date. If they want to lose body fat, you get the idea. Okay? Then I get them to write out how they're gonna do it. Okay? So they have a plan. And that plan may be, say, something like, I will be in the gym 3 times a week. I will be conscious of the amount of food I put in my mouth. I will track it. I will sleep 8 hours a night. Okay, so this is a very basic way of doing it, but they have their plan. Okay,
Yeah.
And this is all good stuff, but this isn't the real kind of core of it. The core of it comes to then when I ask them why they want to do it.
Yes.
Okay. And so for some people, they'll be like, oh, well, I don't really know why. Maybe I want to feel a little bit better. I want to be a little bit more self-confident. And then you start digging. You kind of strip away a few layers. And it turns out that, some people are actually pretty unhappy in life. It might be that they don't have good self-image. It might be that their relationship isn't happy. It might be that they're unhappy in work, or they feel they lack direction in life. And that's why they've come to me.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they're not conscious of it initially. So then what we want to do is we sit down and we talk and we finally work out why they're doing it. And usually people come to me because they want to feel empowered. Okay, there's bits of their life they feel out of control in and they don't feel happy in, and they want to feel empowered. So then we relate it back. We go back to our first goals. Okay, so if you lose this amount of weight by this time, if you do this by this time, what does that then mean for you? And how is it going to affect your life? And then we go back and it's like, okay, all right, so I'm unhappy, or I don't have any energy to play with my kids. And it's like, well, if I lose this weight and if I get stronger, will I have energy to play with my kids? Yes, I will. Will I have more energy to be happy and be a good husband in my relationship? Yes, I will. Things like that. You find a reason for people to work. And once they have that reason, then sure as hell they'll work at it. There's discipline isn't something which is trained. It's just, you just need to have a reason. You just need to know why you're doing this. And if you have the why, you're going to do it.
Definitely. I think there was 2 things in your first part that your first 2 questions that really make a difference for me as well. And one of them being, I will, not I want to.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then the other thing that's kind of parallel to that as well is the preference thing. It's like, it's only ever a preference. It's not actually a goal. So like, I love those 2 things, and just adding that third dimension of what you're talking about really, that solid cements it, right?
Yeah, totally. At the end, like I said, you need direction. Otherwise it's like dropping someone in the middle of the ocean and just telling them to swim. Yeah, without saying that there's an island half a mile this way.
Sure.
You can only swim so far until you just give up because there's no land on the horizon. Whereas if you know that a mile away, even if you can't see it yet, but if you keep swimming in that straight line, you're going to hit land and you're going to be okay. Then you're going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I just quite like the idea of the even that the island thing being half a mile away. I've tried lots of times to lose weight because now I'm 14 stone 10 at 6 foot, and I kind of want to get down. I just want to lose the weight that I do have, and I kind of like the idea of putting your goals of what you want to achieve, what weight you want to achieve, when you want to do it by. That's kind of interesting from literally where I'm at, starting again this week. I'm saying again, it's every month we try again. So it's sort of why, what, when, isn't it? Why are you doing it? What are you doing? When are you doing it for?
Like the way I lay it out is what are we doing? So that's what I ask for their 3 goals. Then it's when are we going to do it by? So then they have a specific date for either we all together or separate goals. Then it's the what are we going to do? So then that's the process. That's the plan of how we're going to get there, and then we have the why, and the why is going to be the reason you're going to do it, and it's what is actually going to get you to the end and keep you on target.
That's awesome.
So going back to what you said, Richard, about you said you're 14:10 right now, which doesn't sound like a weight you want to be.
No.
So just to throw a number at me, where are you trying to get to? Where's your end goal or your point B in your weight loss?
I don't want to be big. I don't want to be full of muscle. I actually would quite like to just be sort of just smaller generally. So not necessarily muscle definition or anything like that. But I think maybe 12 stone is what I was thinking.
So that's nearly 3 stone down. So
Yeah.
does that seem pretty far away?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Seems like a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go back to that analogy of being in the sea, okay, and not really having anywhere to go. Okay. So what you have done by saying I want to be 12 stone is great. You've given yourself a point B. But that's like being in the sea and someone pointing east and say swim that way, and there's land 20 miles away. Okay, so that seems like a big undertaking. It's pretty fearful. You might get halfway and then just give up because it just feels like you're never going to get there. Okay, but then if you said to someone, okay, there's land, your destination is 20 miles away, but every 2 miles there's a little island you can get out on and rest. Get your breath back, then start again, then go for another 2 miles, and there's that little island again. And you do that 10 times. Then you've achieved your 20 miles. That's the way to do it with weight loss as well, because obviously 3 stone is a long way away. But if you set yourself a number of smaller goals, where you're saying maybe in 4 weeks I will lose, 4 or 5 pounds, something like that. Set yourself a specific number. Let's say 4 pounds. So I will lose 4 pounds in 4 weeks. And then the 4 weeks after that, I will lose another 4 pounds. Then 4 weeks after that, I will lose another 4 pounds. Okay, that makes it a much more achievable thing to have all those mini victories or mini wins along the way. And those again will be what will get you through as you're experiencing success constantly, rather than your success being so far away on the horizon.
Yeah, for sure. I think I did this. I've done it for lots of times where I tried to go cold turkey on stuff like low carb diets and stuff like that, where you just get bored. It's just too difficult. You just get bored, and you end up falling off them. So, my idea was to slow myself into sort of the nutrition aspect of it. So, my diet at the moment was terrible. Last week was terrible. Takeaways all the time. And just not necessarily not giving a fuck, but near enough not giving a fuck. So now it's kind of slowly easing my way into that. So off the sugary soft drinks onto the diet drink for 1 week. Then no takeaways. Just slowly moving my way to a better sort of nutrition base.
Sure, that's good, and that's the way to do it. Because the mistake people make is they see on the internet, new you in 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 2 days or whatever other bullshit people are spouting. You're in it for the long haul at the end of the day. If you want to be a different person physically, then you're a different person for the rest of your life. You're not a different person just for 12 weeks. The good habits you're trying to implement are good habits which you can then maintain for the rest of your life. People always ask what the best diet is. The best diet is the one you can fucking stick to.
Yeah,
because
totally.
it can be as good and scientifically calculated as you want. If you're not going to do it, then it's not going to do anything. The first thing I do is with a new client, I try and give them, say, 1 or 2 habits a week, and I try and make them as easy as possible. Rather than giving them some nightmarish restrictive program that they're expecting from day one, I'll ask them just to take some vitamin D and some fish oil supplements for a week.
Cool.
Don't worry about anything else. Just take that. Okay? And then once they've done that, it's as easy as asking them to brush their teeth, because no one ever thinks about brushing their teeth at night. It's not something you have to tell someone to do, because it's just an unconscious habit. It's so easy to do that people don't forget about it. Okay, so I do that. I change one little thing at a time, and I make it so easy that people don't have any problem sticking to it. So you give them one easy thing to do for a week. They keep doing that for a week until that's just normal. They just do it without thinking anymore. Okay, and then you give them another new thing once that's down to the unconscious level. So you just build it up that way. So things don't have to be stuck to. They just become habit. You don't force yourself to do it. You do it just because you're used to doing it.
We'll talk about, obviously, you went through the music thing, and not only was your feeling bad for the stuff that you was eating, all the drinking, excessive party attitude and stuff like that. But obviously you were really committed to it. And like that was almost, I knew you really well at the time, and you were really committed towards that being your end goal and your dream and your passion project in your life. And I'm in a similar place now with all the studio stuff that I was going through. And as far as you went through a certain failure period, basically, you kind of, right, I'm not really doing this anymore. We're not going to do this. And then you bounce back over into something else that's you've really put your passion into. A pretty important thing is like where you put your passion in life, and obviously you're doing really well with your business.
Well, pretty much the crux of it is my goals changed.
Yep.
You know, I was 29, I think, at the time. I'd been in a band for approaching 10 years, and you know, being in a band was always my way of doing something significant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and making a living and being successful. And you know, it went pretty well. I did some cool stuff, but the realization after a while comes that you know you're not going to make your first million doing this.
Oh.
And I was in the process of buying a house. I'd been in a relationship for 12 years. This was just the prelude before I had my daughter as well. And so those were all things I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to I wanted the American dream. You know, of you know, wife, house, kids, dog in the backyard, white picket fence, all that stuff, and music wasn't going to get me there. So then I had to reevaluate my goals. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I had to be aware of where I wanted my point B to be, which was to be financially comfortable, to be able to support my family, and I had to be aware of where my point A was, which was a completely skint bum musician,
mm-hmm.
and so obviously the two weren't really compatible. So I needed to change my situation. I needed new goals, and I needed a new way of achieving the future that I wanted. And fitness for me was the way of doing it.
And is it just a case of it, like it was at the time, just a parallel passion that you threw yourself into?
You know, one of the reasons that I could tour for 10 years and live in tour buses and kind of pretty much like an itinerant lifestyle is I'm not a hugely employable person. I don't really like being told what to do. I very much like doing what I choose to do, how I want it, and by my rules.
Yeah.
And so going off to work for someone else didn't really seem like an option.
Yes.
So I wanted to create something that was mine and I could do my way, and that I felt had a purpose.
Yes.
You know, I like, no offense to anyone who has the 9-to-5 lifestyle or works for companies or whatever. You know, everyone has their own goal, their own way of doing it. But for me, I've always wanted to do something which feels significant. And with my current profession, I feel like I significantly affect people's lives. And I bring good to people's lives, and I put good out into the world, mm-hmm. rather than spending 8 hours of my day doing something that I don't care about. That's never going to drive me. I'm never going to want to do that and want to get better at doing something that I don't see the purpose of.
So yeah. I think there's a big awakening of people who, you know, realize that they don't have to be unhappy with what they're doing. They don't have to, you know, work for the man, so to speak. So, you know, following your passion and, you know, making money out of your passion is, you know, if you're passionate about it, people will see that. You know,
everyone's got a choice at the end of the day. If you want a certain outcome to your life and what you're currently doing isn't achieving that, then change it. Because sure as hell, doing exactly the same thing that's currently making you unhappy is going to keep making you unhappy. Mm-hmm. The same process isn't going to bring about happiness just down the way. You know, you've got to be proactive and do something different if you want things to change.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, and no one's going to put your happiness before their own. At the end of the day, you know, you've got you're the only one who's got a control over their own happiness. So,
but then some people are happy in in an employed situation, you know, so fair enough to them. Everyone is completely different, but I'm very much aware of what I wanted to do.
Being aware, self-aware is a really like important thing. Like it runs parallel through so many different areas and industries that of the people that are being successful is like a certain self-consciousness and a self-awareness of what you're doing to your body, what you're doing to your life, what you're doing to your happiness, how your body and your mind follow each other. So like maybe, you know, you do your fitness thing and you become a happier person because your mind's also following that same cycle, right?
Well, yeah, totally. In terms of the whole mind-body connection, and you know, happy body equals happy mind, and the other way around, there's pretty much a valid chemical reason for that. You know,
Yeah.
just straight biology. You know, if you're fit and healthy, your body works.
Yes.
Yeah, and your body provides chemicals to your brain which cause happiness. You know, you have healthy serotonin release, you have healthy testosterone levels, you have energy, you get a chemical feeling of happiness because your body is working as it should. You know, I think things like depression, etc., you know, are very much down to chemical imbalances in some way. And if your body's not working properly, then of course your brain's not going to work properly, and you're not going to be the happy, vital, energetic person that you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I've just got a quick one then, Luke. Sorry to interrupt. Is there a moment, obviously, when you're maybe working out, where sometimes you just don't feel like working out that day? I assume that you're actually working out every day or every 5 days a week. So what do you do when you really don't want to go work out? What's happening in your head in that situation?
Do you know what? It all depends where I am in terms of what I'm currently working towards. There's two great analogies for the type of workout you're going to have. Okay, there's a bus bench workout and there's a park bench workout. Now, a bus bench, if you're sitting on a bench waiting for a bus, you're waiting for a specific outcome at a specific time. You're waiting for that bus to arrive at 5 to 12 or whatever. Okay, and so everything is geared towards something happening at a certain time. That would be your 12-week program to drop 2 stone within a certain time and hit a certain goal at a certain time. Okay, so you have your bus bench workouts, which are specific, working towards a goal at a specific time. Okay, the second one is a park bench workout, where you sit on a bench in a park. Okay, but there's no expected outcome. You go there and you just see what happens. Okay, and you see some squirrels, you see some birds, someone walks past. Something has happened, but it wasn't necessarily what you were intending, but nonetheless, something has happened. Okay? And that's totally applicable to workouts. You have your focused workout where you're working towards a specific goal, and then sometimes you just go in there and you just see what happens. Okay? And that's your park bench workouts. You can't train for a super tight, specific goal 12 months of the year.
Sure,
because your body doesn't want to do it. You know, you'll wreck yourself when you're so focused and you train so hard. It can almost be counterproductive because you wear yourself out. Okay, so you'll have maybe 2 periods in a 12-month cycle where you maybe train really, 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 really focused hard for that specific goal. You know, most people it's New Year and summer. Okay, those will be your bus bench workouts. However, even if you're not working towards that super specific goal, you can still just go in and have your park bench workout where you turn up and you do something, and it's a hell of a lot better than doing nothing. Okay,
sure, yeah.
So as long as the opinion I take, like I said, this is in for the long haul. You have your goals and you have your 12-week transformations, but at the end of the day, you know, you've got another 20, 30, 40 years of your life ahead. And so you just need to be at a level where you can keep going and keep making improvements year on year, not just week on week. And sometimes that just means you need to slow the pace down a little bit and just go in and do something. Okay? and your attitude towards it changes once you're in a period of park bench workout. It's currently who I am. I'm not working towards anything specific. For me, my gym time is just play. Now, I go in and I play and I have fun and I enjoy it. Because if I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to want to do it, and I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So in some ways, when I'm lacking motivation, I take the pressure off myself, and then I just play and I just do stuff that's fun. Because if I'm picking heavy things up and sticking them over my head a few times in a day, it's still a hell of a lot better than sitting on the couch watching TV.
It's something that I use a lot when I don't necessarily want to do something, like, say, if I've got a mixing project going on with my music stuff, and if I really don't want to do it, I'll just do 2 minutes of work on that. And then that 2 minutes quite easily turns into 5 minutes. That 5 minutes easily turns into 10, 15. Before I know it, I've done 2 or 3 hours work on it that I wouldn't have ever done if I'd not just said, right, I'm just going to do 2 minutes worth. And then you get engaged and you do the work, and then you sort it.
Yeah, totally. That's pretty much a detailed way of saying turn up, see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, first rule of the gym: turn up, see what happens.
But we have a similar thing with, like, the picking up girls type culture, where it's like you just got to push yourself into going and doing it. Like, it's definitely not going to live a happy life if you're not going out and meeting people. But, like, it's a really scary thing to actually go approach a complete stranger.
Yeah, and I guess looking at it that way, even if it just turns out to be a short exchange and nothing happens from it, you still gained from it, because it's another interaction that you can learn from. Even
the entrepreneur type industry, like the tech startup type thing, it's all fail, win. Fail, win. And unless you're doing those fails, you're never going to win.
Yeah, totally. The exception that I'd say, actually, just to go back to Richard's question, the exception I would make with my own statement about, just go in, do something, is when you are working towards that specific goal. Yeah, if you do have that specific goal in mind and it's 3 weeks out and you don't want to work out, that's where the why that we discussed earlier comes in. You sit back and you think of why you are doing this and what it means to your life and how it will benefit your life, that of your family, that of your work productivity, whatever, and you remind yourself of the value of what you are doing.
Sure, that totally makes sense. So there's a lot of parallels between the pickup industry and health and fitness, as there is with business and as there is with entrepreneurship and all those kind of things. So maybe talk about confidence and that being one extreme parallel, as far as guys hitting up the gym, wanting to become a bit more ripped to be able to attract girls. There's also, when we're dealing with the emotional side, the mental side to that. I'd love to get your perspective on confidence and guys hitting up the gym for that kind of purpose.
Okay, cool. Well, the first thing I'd say is, realistically, as much as I don't want to shortchange my own profession, how ripped you are kind of means shit all to a girl. They don't really give a shit if you've got a 6-pack or if you've got like 20-inch arms or anything. If you're a good person, they're kind of happy. They're happy with that. I think it's much more about the individual themselves rather than the person they're trying to attract. Because girls don't care if you're 5% body fat. They like you as you are.
Yeah. If you're a good person, if you're fetching out the best
if you're a
person
good
in
person,
yourself,
and if you're a dick, lifting weights doesn't stop you being a dick. It's if you're a nasty person, you're a nasty person, and you change that. You don't try and get more muscly because you're still a dick. Because what I think is important is, like I said, people who come to the gym or come to me want change, and it's not necessarily that a set of pecs and a large set of arms is the change that they need. It's just their self-image of themselves is what I need to find a way to help them change. Everyone who comes to me has their own story. Okay.
Excellent.
And their story could be that they're weak. They're not attractive to girls. They're like the quiet one in the group, or whatever. Everyone's got their own perception of themselves. That's been away for years. Quite often, it stems from kind of childhood experiences, things that happen when they were younger with parents or family or friends or whatever. It's a habit, and they get into a habit of thinking themselves in a certain way, and it's usually a negative way. And I get this a lot. People come to me because start off, I want to be more attractive to the opposite sex. I want to be a little bit leaner or whatever, but fundamentally, it's I want to be happier with me. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's because they've been telling themselves these negative things about themselves. And this story that people have, everyone's got one, is completely fluid and changeable. And
an important that, Luke. That's great. I'm glad you're mentioning this.
Cool. Yeah. So this story that we all have is a fluid, changeable thing. It's completely governed by our choices that we make. Okay.
Yeah.
We choose to tell ourselves shit things about ourselves. We choose to tell ourselves that we're not confident. We're not good with girls. We're weak. It's the whole kind of classic loser thing. Anyone who kind of who's considered a loser or feels that they're a loser is only that way because they're telling themselves that.
A victim mindset.
Yeah, victim mindset, totally. And it's one of the things, going back to what we were saying about the goal setting. We say, I will do this. I will change this. I will become this. And so I try and get people to change their story. Okay. And one of the ways that I can get people to change their story, and that's the great thing about the gym, is everything has numbers.
Right.
Yeah. And we can make people see that things are changing and that they have the control to change things. Every time they pick up a weight with a heavier number on it, they have made a choice to change something. And because of that, and they have then seen the change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so.
It's something that they can control. When they see their waistline comes down, again, it's something that they are in control of and that they have power over. And that builds confidence. Once you realize that you're in charge of whatever the fuck you want to be in charge of, you can change anything about yourself that you want to, as long as you choose to.
In the same way as your self-image being very fluid, your confidence can be very fluid, and people need to understand that you can be confident in one area of life, and you get put in another situation, then it's like you're not going to be confident in that. But it's not until you exceed your comfort zones and go into different areas, stretch and break that comfort zone like a muscle, that you end up getting confident from that new procedure and that new thing that's happening in your life.
Yeah, totally. It's like, you try something new, of course you're not going to be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I went into a ballroom dancing class now, or a ballet class, I'd be horrific at it, and
sure.
I would be lacking confidence in it because I know I'd look stupid in it. But if that was important to me, if I applied time to it, I would get better at it, and therefore my kind of lack of confidence or fear about it is only initial, because I know that things will change. That where it gets to people is when they look at something like that. They look at something which they'll naturally find hard. Their reaction is, I could never do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Which is self-defeating. If you say, if your mind tells you stories like, I could never do that, if you tell yourself stories like that, then you never will. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I might never be the greatest ballet dancer in the world, but I could learn how to ballet dance if I so wanted. I wouldn't be great at it, but I could do it. Okay? And if I wanted to, I would do it. There's no I could never do that mindset, because people can do whatever they want. It's just the same as everything else. Like a weight. You pick up a weight, you get stronger. You evoke a reaction. Then you pick up a heavier weight, you get stronger again. You evoke another reaction. It's all controllable. The same with dating. I'm sure the guys you interview have techniques and exercises they get people to do. If people do that and they repeat those, they get better at it.
Yeah.
Kind of the way life works. It's you can. There's all kinds of fancy blown ways of kind of describing progression in life and self-betterment. I think materialization or something like that is one of them, where if you put good out into the universe, then the universe will give you good back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a lovely thought. It's great, but what that essentially means is you know, you get what you work for. You get back what you put in.
Luke, this is amazing. Do you want to point people towards your website? Do you want to
Yeah, sure. Like, for anyone who's interested in what I do, I have a website which is www.toughlovecardiff.co.uk. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, even though I don't know how to use it, so that's probably not the best one to hit me up. But if you put Tough Love Cardiff personal training into Google, I will pop up. And even though it says the word Cardiff in it, obviously I train people in Wales, but I have an online program where I have clients in America. I've just literally got a new client in Hong Kong today.
Wow.
I have clients out in Italy, the Netherlands, Europe, all kinds of cool places. So if you like what I talk about, which isn't fast solutions or kind of temporary fixes, this is just about becoming strong, healthy, and mentally fucking awesome throughout the rest of your life, then please drop me an email. toughlovecardiff@gmail.com is the best one. And thanks to the internet, distance is of no object. We can make you awesome no matter where you are in the world.
Excellent, Luke. This has been fantastic. Thanks for doing this, man. Really, really
No
appreciate
worries.
it.
Pleasure to do it. Thanks for asking.